ॐ दक्षिणास्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So we started the third chapter last session, and in the third chapter it began with Arjuna's confusion and question again as to which of the two, that is Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, which of them is the one which is going to give me ultimately that Shreyas which I am looking for. And your words are very as though you are confusing me, Krishna. And I want to know definitely what is it that I have to take up, whether I have to take up to Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. And Lord Krishna answered that there is no choice as far as Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are concerned, because Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga have to be followed in a sequential pattern, and a Karma Yogi also reaches the Parama Purushartha of moksha. A Jnana Yogi also reaches the Parama Purushartha of moksha. But if there is any difference, it is only in the lifestyles. That is, a person who is already prepared, whose intellect is already prepared, there is enough Chitta Shuddhi and enough Chitta Naishchalyam, he can directly go to the Jnana Yoga and adopt himself to the lifestyle of a renunciate or a sannyasi. Whereas Arjuna, for you, you are neither prepared for this knowledge because you do not have enough Chitta Shuddhi, nor are you prepared for a life of sannyasa or withdrawal. And therefore, Arjuna, may you do whatever karma you have to do. Niyatam kuru karma tvam. In the previous verse, in the 8th verse, we saw that Arjuna, nobody can be there without doing any karma or any action. And I explained all about what is karma and everything in the last class. And now Krishna says that Arjuna, you are neither fit for this knowledge because you don't have the required Chitta Shuddhi or the preparation of the intellect for this knowledge, nor are you fit for a life of withdrawal, a life of sannyasa. He said, Sankhyanam Sankhya Yogena Nishtha. And yoginam karma yogena nishta. So Arjuna, you are not a Sankhya, so you cannot really live a life of a withdrawal or sannyasa and take up to exclusive concentration on this knowledge or Atmajnanam. You are still a person who's very, very active and pravritta in life, and therefore, Arjuna, you have to take up to the lifestyle of a karma yogi, and for you, yoginam karma yogena nishtha. At this time, the only lifestyle which you are fit for is that of a karma yogi. You are not fit for either sannyasa or for the study of the Upanishads and study of Vedanta for Atmajnana. May you get prepared for this by following Karma Yoga. Now, in this chapter, as I told you in the last session, the 9th verse to the 16th verse, these verses are very, very interesting in such a way that Krishna is going to talk about Karma Yoga as a yajna way of life. And he describes a yajna way of life. Now, before we go into the verses proper, let me explain to you what is a yajna. Now, yajna has many meanings. It has got, meanings of doing a very elaborate fire ritual is also yajna, and being very, very worshipful and having reverence to Ishvara is also called yajna. Anything that is done with commitment is also called as yajna. But then here, in the next 8 verses, Krishna is going to use yajna as a paryaya pada for karma yoga. Now let us understand what is this yajna way of life. Now yajna means 3 things. We have to understand that yajna way of life involves 3 things. Number 1, reverence and worshipfulness to Ishvara. Now, Ishvara here does not mean Shiva, or Shankara. Ishvara is the common noun for God, what we say God or Lord. So, Ishvara is that what we call as God. So, here in the yajna way of life, the first thing that a person who lives life in the yajna way has reverence and also worshipfulness towards Ishvara. Now, let me tell you why it is so. Yajna way of life involves Ishvara very actively. Without bringing Ishvara into one's life, there cannot be a yajna way of life. Now, what is the meaning of being worshipful or reverential to Ishvara? We have to understand that as a jiva, I am limited, I am the vyashti, the individual, and I have to interact with the other jivas and the jagat outside and also with Ishvara. Now, our yajna way of life in our scriptures takes the individual as the vyashti, a small aspect of the total, and Ishvara as the samashti or the total. Now, what is the meaning of being reverential? What is the meaning of being worshipful to Ishvara? Now, here, the Karma Yogi understands that whatever is there in this Jagat is nothing but Ishvara. Whatever is enjoyed by me, whatever resources I have, whatever resources are there in the entire universe belong to Ishvara. That's why there is an Upanishad called as Ishavasya Upanishad, which says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. This whole universe is pervaded by that Ishvara. And not only that, whatever I am enjoying in this Jagat, in the form of objects, in the form of situations, in the form of my interaction with the other jivas in the Jagat, all this is what is given by Ishvara or given by the Lord. So the same Upanishad in the same verse, it says that Tena tyaktena bhunjita. That means whatever is given out to you by Ishvara, may you enjoy that. Tena Ishvarena tyaktena, given to you. Tena tyaktena bhunjita, may you enjoy that, may you experience that. And magradha kasyasvid dhanam, may you not go after unnecessarily accumulating resources. May you not go after other people's wealth. Now, what it means is, Wealth neither belongs to me. Wealth here means all the resources, including money, everything, all the punyas, material things that I have earned out of my own punya. None of these really belong to me. They're all belonging to Ishvara. So all the resources belong to Ishvara. Therefore, why are you going after somebody else's resources? May you enjoy whatever is given out by Ishvara in the form of whatever resources you have. Enjoy it to the best of your ability in a dharmic way. Now, here we have to understand that I have to be grateful, show my gratitude in the form of at least remembering Ishvara for all those resources that are given to me. Now, resources do not mean only material things. Resources also mean we see that we are in a jagat where everything is happening in a very, very orderly fashion. There is nothing random here. All the planets are moving about in their own orbits. All the galaxies are in their own realm. The oceans are controlled within themselves. The seasons are coming one after another. It's raining at the right time. There is growth of plants and food is produced. All this, the cycle of the Jagat, what is called as the Jagat Chakra or the Jiva Chakra, is nothing but that which is run by the laws of Ishvara. Now, our scriptures do not consider the laws of Ishvara as kind of jada laws or lifeless laws. The laws of Ishvara are considered to be alive and sentient and conscious, which are really responsible for maintaining the regularity in the Jagat Chakra and the Jiva Chakra. Whatever is happening in a cosmic cycle with multiple laws in it, the seasonal laws, the laws of rain, the laws that the sun rises in the right time, in the right place, the all the waters are there in their own limitations, the oceans are in their limitations, the right type of food products are grown in the right place. All this are what are called as the laws of Ishvara or the Jagat Chakra, Jiva Chakra. And these laws of Ishvaras are addressed by our scriptures as Devatas. They're all addressed as Devatas. Like Indra is the Devata for rain, and Varuna is the Devata for all the oceans. There is a Jala Devata, there is Prithvi Devata, there is Agni Devata, there is Vayu Devata, there is Dadik Devatas for the space, and there is a Yama Devata who regulates even the jivas, the population of the Jagat. Therefore, what is said by our scriptures is that this entire Jagat, which is running with a clock-like precision, is run by these devatas. And it is because of these devatas or functionaries. You can take the devatas as functionaries. The functionaries or the sentient, conscious laws, intelligent laws which maintain themselves and maintain the Jagat, they all are Ishvara in the form of various devatas who are taking care of different aspects of the running of the universe. And therefore, as a Vyashti, as an individual, I have to be grateful to the Samashti. I have to be grateful to the laws of Ishvara. And therefore, whatever I can offer to these functionaries or these devatas in the form of appreciation, in the form of gratitude, in the form of worship, I have to offer to them. Some of them may do elaborate fire principles or yajnas where Indra is given offerings, Vayu is given havis or offerings. And what it means, if I cannot do that, a simple Sandhya Vandana karma is also my respect, my showing my respect and reverence to the Devas. So, simple Agnihotra karma, simple Nitya karmas that are prescribed by the Vedas to all of us. All these are what? These are all the small karmas by which we are showing our gratitude to the Devatas who are maintaining the Jagat and the principles, laws of the Jagat for us. If we cannot do that also, we can pray. We can have a small prayer for everything. For every Devata, we have prayers which are given not only in the Vedas, but also in the Smriti Granthas. So, by a simple prayer, we can offer, remember, hey Lord, thank you for this. When I'm using water, thank Lord that I have got this water to drink, to clean myself, and also I have enough. I don't have to go for miles together to get one pot full of water. This gratitude of expressing my thanks to Ishvara and the various functionaries for all the resources that I'm enjoying when everything is going around smoothly, that particular reverential attitude expressed in my own way, in a simple karma or in a simple prayer, or every time remembering Lord and saying with my gratitude. Like when I have food, I say Annapurne, Sadapurne, Shankara Pranavallabhe. Okay, or whatever I'm doing, when I get a new dress, I keep it in front of God and say, this is your prasada to me, and I express it as prasada and wear it. When I cook something every day, I offer it as naivedya to the Lord. What is it? It is just a simple act of showing my gratitude in the form of simple karmas by which I acknowledge the presence of Ishvara and the Devatas in my routine daily life. This is what is called as the first aspect of yajna, that is showing reverence to Ishvara and the other deities or the functionaries or devatas who are keeping the whole thing going in a very, very systematic order. Second, yajna way of life means contribution. You see, there are two ways in which I can live. I can be a consumer, go on consuming from others, consume from the nature, and keep on manipulating the nature for my own greed. So go on consuming, and be a parasite. That is one way of living. But yajna way of life is I become more of a contributor than a consumer. How much do I consume? With Viveka, I decide how much is it that I want. How much do I need to use for myself? Whether it's food, whether it's water, whether it's electricity, whether it is whatever resources are there, how much do I need? How much can I use? How much can I limit my usage of this so that I can be more of a contributor by limiting my usage for my personal use. Use whatever I require. Rest of it, I share with others, which I don't use. This is contribution. So contribution can be in the form of dana, giving whatever I have in excess, which I do not need. It can be in the form of giving my time. It can be in the form of giving whatever it is, whatever I can contribute, not only to the cycle, of the ecological cycle, but also to the others. Now, my being contributor is a very great thing in the ecological balance. Just see, our Vedas from that time have been telling us that you have to be a contributor to maintain the ecological balance. What is the meaning of this? That I do not exploit the nature. I use whatever is necessary for me to be used from the nature. Take whatever is needed with reverence, with prayers. It is said that earlier, even to get samit for a yajna, the person had to take the permission of the tree. And the person had to really search for those twigs which had fallen, which were not directly removed from the tree. So everything that a person did was with this kind of an attitude of offering or with the attitude of contribution. So I don't become a mere bhokta. I don't become a mere consumer, but I become a contributor by having respect for the laws of nature. And I try to conserve nature and become a part of the ecological wholeness or the balance. You see, we can take ourselves an individual, see, just take the whole universe as a big jigsaw puzzle with millions of pieces in it. I am only one piece, Vyashti. The Vyashti is one small piece in the big drama or the big format of, a big jigsaw puzzle called as the universe. And I, a small piece, cannot have control over the samashti. I cannot exploit the samashti. If I try to exploit samashti, I am going to get hurt. So, what is the best way for me to live? Let me understand that I am one small piece of the jigsaw puzzle. I might as well fit into the whole and complete the picture. The whole is incomplete without me, and I'm nothing without the whole. I cannot exist as one jigsaw puzzle piece. If you look, you really don't know where it is, where it has come from, which part of the puzzle it is. But when that piece goes in the right place in that whole puzzle, then that small piece completes the picture. So let me be a Vyashti who's not trying to control the Samashti, but be a part of this where I contribute to the wholeness of the Samashti. So I become more of a contributor to the ecological balance and less of a consumer where where normally I would like to exploit. Here I don't exploit, I give. This is the second way of yajna of life. All these are told. This is not something which anybody is simply saying. These are all coming in the next 8 verses. All these things will come. Contribution. Next, the third way, yajna way of life is sharing. Sharing. What is the meaning of sharing? I have something which somebody else doesn't have. I share with the universe whatever I can share. If I cannot share anything, I at least share a prayer. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu. Kale varshatu parjanyaha. Prithvi sasya shalini. Deshoyam kshobarahitaha. Brahmana santu nirbhayaha. This is a prayer for everybody. Let everybody be happy. Let there be enough food for everybody. Let all the dharmic people live without any fear. Let everybody do their job or their work the way they have to do. Even this kind of sending out a prayer for the goodness, for the benefit of everybody, other jivas, is sharing. At the same time, in sharing, I don't harm the other jivas for my pleasure. I don't kill other jivas for my pleasure. But there are sometimes situations where I have to harm without my knowledge, that is not deliberately, or sometimes deliberately. I may cause some harm to the other jivas around me. That is possible. But to a large extent, I try to share what I have and try to distribute whatever is there so that there are no pockets of things which are too much in one place and nothing at all in the other place. So now these three are what is meant by the yajna way of life. What is this other than karma yoga? So you are having Ishvara in your life. You are doing everything as Ishvara Arpana. You are contributing to the Samashti, which is Ishvara. You are contributing to the entire Jagat and to the other bhutas in the form of sharing. So Krishna is telling here, Arjuna, may you live every day a life of yajna. Now, this is a very general explanation of what yajna is. Now, in our daily life, how can we live this life of yajna, a yajna way of life? For that also, our scriptures, especially the Smritis, give us a very beautiful program called Pancha Mahayajnas. Pancha Mahayajnas is meant for every person belonging to every varna, every ashrama, every age, everything. This is what is called as the Pancha Mahayajna, which include all these. Pancha Mahayajna means what? 5 great yajnas or 5 great offerings. Offerings to whom? To Ishvara. And what are these 5 Pancha Mahayajnas, which all of us can do in our everyday lives? We can do this Pancha Mahayajna, which means I am in the cycle of the Samashti and living a life of prayerfulness and gratitude, living a life of contribution, living a life of sharing, and I'm not becoming a hassle or harmful to the Jiva Chakra or Jagat Chakra, but I am becoming one of the important part of the Jiva Chakra and Jagat Chakra. So let's see what these Pancha Mahayajnas are. First is called as Deva Yajna. Whatever I told you in the first part of it, that is Deva Yajna means offering my gratitude in the form of small karmas which are given in the Veda Purva, or by mere prayer, or by doing some kind of a puja which are given in the Smriti Granthas, Smartha karmas we can say. So this is what is called as the Deva Yajna. remembering the Lord. In every action that I do, I see that whatever I'm using, the resources I'm using, as nothing but tena tyaktena bhunjita, that which is given out by Ishvara, and have a reverential attitude of thankfulness to Ishvara. This is Deva Yajna in everything that. Then we have what is called as a Pitru Yajna. Pitru Yajna means what? Today I am where I am and what I am because of my ancestors. They have given me this particular place, starting from wherever, we don't know. We hardly remember even two generations. The third generation during Shraddha, if I am asked what is the name of my great grandfather, I will not know. So, Pitru Yajna means showing my gratitude to the elders, to my ancestors who are believed to be in Pitralokas. This is a understanding. It's a belief. It is a shraddha that they are there. And if we offer to them in the form of food, tarpana, and food, tarpana means giving them, offering them water, offering them food, shraddha tarpanas. Shraddha tarpanas are the pitru karmas, which are very necessary to be done. In today's world, we hardly do. Our rationalists will keep on asking, how do you know where they have gone? How do you know that these Pitrus get whatever you have offered? They might be reborn again. So it doesn't matter whether it reaches them or not, but it gives me the punya of showing my gratitude to my ancestors. I cannot deny that I had a father. I cannot deny that I had a grandfather. I cannot deny that I had a great, any number of ancestors. I cannot deny that because I'm here. I may not know them. I may not even know their names, but I can show my gratitude by doing this Naimittika karmas called as the Shraddha karmas. And in Shraddha Tarpana, what am I doing? I'm just calling them, I'm inviting them and making them sit and do the puja to them reverentially and offer to them food and water and everything. And I worship them. This is what is called as the Shraddha Karma, which is called as Pitru Yajna. Again, gratitude to all the ancestors. Then the third Panchamahayajna is called as Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna means what? Our rishis, so many of our rishis have done so much to divide these Vedas, make these Vedas easier for us to understand. And all our rishis and all our acharyas, our teachers, Dakshinasya Samarambha from Dakshinamurti, Asmadacharya Paryantam, this knowledge, this Vedic knowledge has come flowing from time immemorial. And what is my duty? To keep this knowledge flowing further. It is said that the best Guru Dakshina you can give to a Guru is by spreading or by sharing the knowledge that I have got from my Guru. That knowledge which has helped me to transform myself. When I share that knowledge, what am I doing? Knowledge is kept flowing. You see, like water, knowledge also has to flow. If knowledge does not flow and if knowledge stagnates, then there is no purpose of this knowledge. So, knowledge is ever fresh. Our Vedic knowledge is ever fresh. Our Vedantic knowledge is very fresh. Therefore, we have found so many acharyas writing so many things and continuing it. And in the form of this kind of sharing, Anyonya Tat Prabodhanam, it is called as, we are keeping this whole, the stream, the Jnana Ganga alive. And by this, what are we doing? At least study every day something, either read some part of Bhagavad Gita or read some bhashas. What are we doing in Bhashya Parayana? We are continuing to keep the bhashas written by Acharya Shankara, circulating them, continuing them. When we are doing this Bhashya Parayana, we may not even understand what we are reading. It's good if we understand what we are reading and continue. But mere Parayanam itself is a part of Brahma Yajna. It is also called as a Rishi Yajna. Swa Shakha Adhyaya Anushtanam. And by hearting the Shakha to which you belong in the Vedas, Parayana of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Bhashya, sharing whatever knowledge I have learned with understanding doesn't matter even without understanding. The main purpose is to show my gratitude to the rishis who have kept this knowledge going. And I also become a loop, a link in the chain of continuing to propagate this knowledge. Of course, I have to be properly prepared. I mean, without knowing what I'm teaching, I can't simply say that I'm going to propagate the knowledge I received, and I should not create an andha parampara. I should have enough sufficient knowledge and the capacity to give it out. And so it has to continue. This is called as Brahma Yajna and Rishi Yajna. That's why Chinmayanandji used to call all his Gita, this called as Gita Jnana Yajna. So Brahma Yajna, Rishi Yajna is also called as the Jnana Yajna, in which Swadhyaya is also included. Daily I study the scriptures, that is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya and Anushtanam and also Parayana, all these things are keeping the teaching alive. So this is called as the Brahma Yajna or Rishi Yajna. Then we have fourth one, Manushya Yajna. Manushya Yajna means my sharing whatever I have and coming to the help of my fellow human beings, not trying to exploit them, but trying to help them grow, mutual growth, mutual assistance, mutual sharing, and trying to see that the whole community is healthy. Manushya Yajna. In various ways, I can do that. Like Danam, giving by means of money or food, feeding, clothes, and helping somebody to study, or just going and spending some time with a very senior citizen who's very lonely. That is also Manushya Yajna. So Manushya Yajna is the fourth one. Fifth one is what is called as the Bhuta Yajna. What is Bhuta Yajna? I contribute to the other jivas, other than humans, animals, plants, so I don't disturb them unnecessarily. I try to contribute to their growth. I don't try to do anything which harms them. So help them, contribute to the growth of other forms of life also, respecting the other forms of life. This is called as the Bhuta Yajna. So just see how many opportunities we have every day in whatever we are doing to have these five things, isn't it? Every action that we do in our daily lives is in some way connected to this. Therefore, Krishna says the best way of living a life of karma yoga, which was explained as Ishwararpana buddhya karma kartavyam, Ishwara prasada buddhya karma phala svikritihi, in the second chapter. In the third chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna, may you look upon a life of karma yoga as a yajna. So what are you doing? You're bringing that divine principle in it. So whatever you're doing, whether it's a Deva Yajna or a Pitra Yajna or a Manusha Yajna or a Bhuta Yajna or a Brahma Yajna, it is offering to the Lord ultimately. So this is the Yajna way of life. And with this basic understanding of what is Yajna, now let us go to the next 8 verses. See, without this, initial understanding, it's very difficult to understand what Krishna is really talking about. So let's see if we can see all the 8 verses that he's going to talk as a group of 8 verses which talk about Yajna way of life. So we'll go to the 9th verse of the 3rd chapter. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर. So here, यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणः, karma yoga as worship or with an attitude of gratitude, and gratitude to the Lord for giving me everything. So maybe show your gratitude for everything that I have got in this particular Janma in life. Take it as everything that is meant for my own progress. It is for my own good, and accept it as Ishvara prasada. So yajnarthat, whatever you do, Arjuna, do it with the attitude of yajna. And such a karma does not bind you. Lokoyam anyatra karma bandhanaha. That means if you don't do all your activities with the reverence and worshipfulness to the Lord, then this can become binding. As we saw, When I do a karma merely as a karmi and not as a karma yogi, the action also binds me, the karma phala also binds me. So yajnarthat karmanaha, you have to do that. Okay, you have to do that. Then anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. In any other way you do it, it is bandhana. Whereas tadartham karma kaunteya, karma done as a yajna is non-binding. Tadartham, that is yajnartham karma kaunteya. When you do it as a yajna, then it does not bind you. It does not give you either papa or punya, but you will definitely get punya. What kind of punya will you get? You will grow higher in the ladder of your mumukshutvam, and day by day your chitta shuddhi will become more and more intense, and very soon you will become a yogya for jnana prapti. So jnana yogyata prapti will come, and therefore, hey Arjuna, do this karma yajnartham, that is tadartham yajnartham, which doesn't bind you. Mukta sangha samacharaha. Mukta sangha means what? Without even thinking about the results. No sangha, no karma phala abhisandhi. So when I'm doing something as an offering, same thing we saw as karma yoga. I'm offering whatever I'm doing as yajna. I see every action of mine as a yajna. And what is yajna? Reverential attitude and offering and worship to the Lord. Therefore, I am not at all having any kind of a sangha with the karma phala, and therefore this action does not bind you. Now, where has this yajna way of life come from? Is it something which Krishna is telling to Arjuna, or is it something which has been there? Krishna says, no, Arjuna, this is not what I am telling you. This is something which, when Brahmaji created the universe itself, the yajna way of life was a part of the creation. So what he says here, Saha yajna praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam yeshavostvishtha kamadhuk. So here he says, Prajapatihi means Brahmaji. What did he do? Prajaha srishtva. Prajaha srishtva, at the time of the creation, he created the living beings. And with what? Sahayagnya. Along with this yajna way of life. That is what is given even in the Vedas, the yajna way of life. So that means when Brahmaji created this universe, all the jivas were created with the attitude of yajna in them already. See, attitude of yajna is inherent in us. Whatever may be, however gross a person may be, however cruel a person may be, there is something called as a sharing in his heart. There is something called as a compassion in his heart, which can show up here and there. All of us have that in us because we have been created with Sahayagnya. That capacity of yajna is already inbuilt in us. But if we are not finding it today, it is because of our entanglement with karma and karma phala. This very sattvic aspects of yajna attitude, it is literally covered by my involvement with karma and karma phala. But then Prajapati, Brahmaji, the creator, has created the universe and the jivas along with the attitude for yajna and whatever is necessary for living this life of yajna. It is all inbuilt in the creation, the attitude on the part of the jiva, and the circumstances and the situations to lead a life of yajna way of life. They're all inbuilt. And what did he say when he created the jivas with sahayajna, along with the yajna way of life? What did he say? Anena, with this karma yoga and this kind of a yajna way of life, prasavishyadvam, may you prosper. See, prasavishyadvam. Prasavishyadvam means may you prosper. May you materially prosper. May you get rains at the right time. May you have enough of food to eat. May you have all the resources. So may you prosper. And this is the only way, Yajna way is the only way to prosper and let the Jagat also prosper. Anena means this Yajna way of life. Karma Yogena, Yajnena. Okay. What happens here? Prasavishyadvam yeshaha Vaha asti ishta kamadhuk. Yeshaha means what? This yajna way of life. Vaha for you. Astu, may it be astu. Ishta kamadhuk. Let this yajna way of life be like a wish fulfilling cow. Okay? Kamadhenu. What is a kamadhenu? Whatever you want, whatever you desire, that kamadhenu gives, it seems. So, Kamadhenu. Kamam Kamam Dogdhi iti Kamadhenu. Wish fulfilling cow. Of course, it's not here. It's a heavenly cow, which people, rishis like Vashishta and all had. Nandini, all these, are, the wish fulfilling cows. And what he says is, Brahmaji says is, this yajna way of life, may that be a kamadhenu for you. You live a life of yajna, then you will prosper, you will get whatever you want, and the entire jagat around you also will prosper. So, Krishna, you cannot prosper alone when the entire jagat is in peril. We are seeing that now, isn't it? In this COVID times, we are seeing there's no question of one person or one, one section of the society, prospering when the rest of the society is literally in doldrums. So, what is said here is that let this yajna way of life be mutually prosperous to you, so that you have a prosperous jagat around you. You will prosper with that. So let this yajna way of life be like a wish fulfilling cow for you. So if you want to prosper, Arjuna, you cannot be selfish. You cannot be only a consumer. You have to be a contributor. You have to have a reverential attitude towards the samashti, and you have to share the prosperity. It's only then that itself will give you whatever you need for your prosperity. How does it happen? In the next verse, Krishna says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Now he says that Devan means what? The presiding deities of the natural forces, the functionaries of the natural forces, of the Jagat, the natural forces of the Jagat. May you, show your gratitude towards them. Devan bhavayatan yena. Yena means what? Yagnena. By this yagna way of life, may you propitiate, may you worship, may you show your gratitude by simple karmas or a simple prayer towards the presiding deities of the natural forces. And when you propitiate these, when you show your gratitude and worship to them, then they are going to give you whatever they have to give absolutely in the proper manner. Okay, and it helps you in harmonious living. So ultimately the yajna way of life is what? Harmonious living with yourself, with the other people in the jagat, with all the natural forces of the jagat, at the same time with Ishvara, who's the very law which is controlling or which is running the very jagat. So he says, when you have this attitude towards the functionaries or the devas, te deva bhavayantu vaha, then they will please you, they will bless you. How? Kale varshatu parjanyaha. Okay, proper times it will rain, there will be proper growth of food basing, there won't be places where there is no food at all. Te deva bhavayantu vaha, they will take care of you, they will shower you with their blessings. Parasparam bhavayantaha, when you are looking at them with gratitude, when you are showing gratitude, they shower you with the bounty, the nature's bounty. harmonious living. So parasparam bhavayantaha. May you and the forces of nature be in harmony with each other, not at loggerheads. And only this kind of a way of life, yajna way of life, shreyaha param avapsyatha. Paramaha Shreyas. Ultimately, this yajna way of life is going to take you up the ladder of the mumukshu's journey and take you to the Jnana Yoga, which ultimately frees you from your samsara. So, parasparam bhavayantaha Shreya paramam avapsyata. Then, what will they give you? How will they, bless you? All these devatas by showing my gratitude to them. I don't have to do any elaborate karmas, elaborate yagas, yajnas. Those who can do, they will do. But if I cannot, just a prayer, a thanks, that's it. And it's not only in our culture. You see, even in places like Africa and South America and all, they have their own way of appeasing. They have some music, some dance for rains, for proper food and everything there. So this is there in every culture. It does not have to be told in Sanskrit only. Any language is okay. Ishvara understand however you express your gratitude to Ishvara. And these deities, the functionaries, devatas, the presiding deities of natural forces, what will they do? They will give you what? Ishtan bhogan hivo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha तैर्दत्तान् प्रदयायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः. Now these deities, yajna bhavitaha devaha, those who are propitiated by us with gratitude, ishtan bhogan dasyante. Ishtan bhogan, whatever is ideal for you, whatever is necessary for you to live your life. Ishtan bhogan, the bhogas that are necessary, the bhogas that one needs, the experiences that one needs, the things that one needs, the resources that one needs. Those devas dasyante, they will give you that. They will bless you with that. And if you have to live in harmony with them, just taking from them is not enough. You have to contribute to them also. And what does he say? Tair dattan apradayabhyaha. That means taihi dattan, whatever is given by them, whatever is given or whatever blessings are showered upon me by those devatas, apradaya yebhyaha. If I don't return something in the way of contribution to these devatas, and I only enjoy them, yo bhunkte sthena eva saha. Sthena means what? He is a thief. What do? You steal from somebody and you enjoy that, isn't it? You don't think of that other person. Is a thief grateful to the person from whom he has stolen? No. But what here Krishna says is, you enjoy all the blessings of the natural forces and you do not contribute back to them. How can you contribute back to them? What can I do? Okay, I mean, food is given to me by these devatas, rain is given to me. What can I give them back? Offer whatever I'm cooking as naivedya. Okay, have harmonious feelings towards whatever it is. Let me not waste the resources which are showered upon me by them. By living in harmony with whatever is given by them. See how ecological balance is being talked about in our Vedas. It's not just today that we are talking about it. It has been the way of life. A Vedic way of life has always been that. So, taihi dattan apradaya yebhyaha, without returning something back to them, the one who only enjoys these is equivalent to a thief. So, I enjoy without giving any kind of a gratitude towards it. How do I show that gratitude? I share whatever has been given to me with others. I show my gratitude by thanking the deity. If I don't do that, and if I simply use the resources which are blessed upon me by these devatas, I am nothing but a thief who's just stealing from Ishvara and not doing anything about it. Then he says, what is the attitude of a person who is doing the yajna? A person who is living the life with a yajna attitude has to share, and whatever is remaining, that one partakes, either as a prasada. I offer whatever I have cooked to the Lord and take it back as a prasada and eat it. Or I do a yajna and use the raksha that is there given, and partake in it. So he says that partaking whatever is left behind by offering to the devatas and to the jagat, to the other people, to other jivas, if I partake in that, then such a karma does not give rise to any kind of a bondage. On the other hand, such a yajna way of life removes my papas. So here he says, Yo bhungte, yajna shishtashinas santaha muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate te tvagham papa ye pachantyatma karanat. So it says that those who accept whatever is the remnant, yajna shishtaha, as a prasada from the Lord, after offering it to the Lord, after sharing. In the Vedic way of life, a grahastha would never eat food before offering it to an atithi. After offering it to an atithi, whatever is remaining as the yajna shishtaha, it was an atithi yajna and manushya yajna, whatever is offered to other, like we sometimes put food outside for the other jivas, for the ants, for other jivas to have. So what is yajna shishta? Yajna shishta means the remnants of a yajna way of life after offering it. It could be food, it could be money, it could be any kind of a thing which has been given to me, blessed upon me by these devatas. Yajna shishta shinaha santaha, yajna shishta ashinaha santaha. I have to be a person who partakes in all these that are given to me as blessings after sharing them by Manushya Yajna and Bhuta Yajna. And this kind of a sharing, Muchyante sarva kilbishaihi, I am freed from the papas. This yajna way releases me from papas. As I said earlier, we might be doing so many things without our knowledge. We may be harming so many jivas without our knowledge, deliberately or not deliberately. We may be causing harm. It happens in our daily lives. And such papas are called as panchasunas. Panchasunas are the 5 papas. We'll talk about it some other time. These panchasunas or papas are taken care of by these pancha mahayajnas, it is said. So, sarva kilbishaihi muchante. Sarva kilbishaihi means whatever papas I am accruing every day, intentionally or unintentionally, by harming the other jivas around me. This yajna way of life protects me from such a life. And ye pachanti atma karanat bhunjate, they are actually the people who are not sharing whatever they have and they eat only for themselves. It is like cooking only for myself and eating. And if one extra person comes, oh, sorry, I don't have anything to give you. So such a person is considered to be a papi according to Krishna. And what he's saying is here, if I cook for myself, if I enjoy some resources only for myself or maybe for my family and I don't share it with others, it is according to Vedanta or according to the Vedas, this kind of a ayagnya way of life can cause a lot of spiritual obstacles in my path of my mumukshutvam, it will cause. So let me share, and whatever is remaining, let me utilize that as yajna shishtaha. It helps me in my spiritual growth. Why am I doing this? Because I have to be a part of a Jagat Chakra or a Jiva Chakra which continues properly so that I am in harmony and I am not one piece of the jigsaw puzzle against the whole puzzle, but I am in harmony with the entire Jagat so that the Jiva Chakra, Jagat Chakra moves effortlessly. So he says here, Annad bhavanti bhutani पर्जन्यादन्न संभवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवः. So here Krishna is slightly going to the other aspect of the Jagat Chakra or Jiva Chakra. And he says it is cycle within the cycle. You know, the natural laws are the cosmic cycle is one big cycle in which there is a cycle of seasons, there is a cycle of rains, there is a cycle of day and night, multiple small cycles within large cycles. And he takes one of such cycles, that the food cycle. He says, Annad Bhavanti Bhutani. It is the food that creates, or the food that is responsible for the birth, the maintenance, and the growth of all the jivas. Anna Sambhavaha. We are all born out of Annam, continue to grow in Annam, and then ultimately get resolved back into Annam. So Anna means food. Annad Bhavanti Bhutani, from Oshadaya, from plants. Parjanyat Anna Sambhavaha. Correct? From where this Anna comes? It comes from the Oshadhayaha, from the plants. And how will plants be able to prepare this food for us? By rain. Parjanyat, by rain. And how do the rains come in time in the proper way? Yajnad bhavati parjanyaha. So when I lead a life of yajna, of harmony with the natural forces, and express my gratitude towards the natural deities, you know, the presiding deities of the natural forces, then what happens? Yajnat bhavati parjan. Only one example he's giving here. The rains will come at the proper time. It's not only rains, everything else. And what is this yajna? It is karma samudbhava. This yajna has to originate in my action. Yajna is only my attitude to whatever action I am doing. Here, Krishna is talking about the harmony of an individual vyashti with the cosmic cycle of samashti. Harmony is the sharing, and harmony is actually the crux of maintaining this balance. Therefore, ultimately, what is it? It is the karma that I do, not as a selfish karma, not as something only for myself I have to enjoy. No, I do this karma in what way? I do this karma with the yajna bhava. Either of the five yajnas, Deva yajna or Pitru yajna or, you know, Brahma yajna or Manushya yajna or Jiva, whatever. I do it with the yajna attitude. Then I am in harmony with Ishvara. I am in harmony with the other jivas around me. I am in harmony with the human jivas around me. And I am in harmony with the Jagat. And when this happens, then all that I do is not a selfish action. All that I do is not mere karma. And by yajna way of life, I am leading a life of karma yoga. So Arjuna, Ishwararpana buddhi, Ishwara prasada buddhi can be expressed in the form of a yajna way of life. And from where did this yajna come? How this religion, this karma which is to be done in the yajna way, how did it come? He already told about at the time of the creation itself, yajna way of life was imbibed into every jiva. And now in the next two verses, in the next two verses, he talks about the authenticity and the origin of the karma or the yajna way of life as it is mentioned in the Vedas. We'll see that in the next class. So today we have, what have we seen? We have seen today that karma yoga can be very easily followed in the form of this yajna way of life. And these Pancha Mahayajnas are the best tool that our scriptures have given us to live a life of karma yoga effortlessly. So we'll stop with this. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaa Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukham Apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय